Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Sagittarius. If Sagittarius is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. All right. I was just noticing, I usually am wearing my watch when I'm outside and I have quite a tan line for my watch there. Okay, so immediately I'm seeing a large face here. Okay, so it looks like somebody is delivering you a message. I had that feeling coming into this, but I want to see exactly who is coming through here. Yeah, that's interesting. And almost with the little X there, it makes me think almost kind of like a kind of like hold your tongue, or they've been silenced, they haven't been listened to, but they've been trying to get through to you, maybe, or maybe you haven't been ready to hear it yet, but now it's time. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna turn this thing, we're gonna take a look. And I just wanted to mention that the card that I pulled for this reading is the Four of Discs, which has to do with power. So we'll have to see, how does that play together with this. Okay. And so with the discs, I feel like this is going to be something really in your material life going on, in your base reality, your day-to-day. Okay, so it's interesting. I'm seeing a few different images here of what looks like different work. This one quite literally to me looks like a person wearing like a little hat, maybe like a hard hat or something, and they are maybe sawing right here. And so I really think that this has to do with, there's some kind of building happening in your life, but I think this has to do also with work. Like maybe this is within your career. Maybe if you are like myself, mostly a homemaker, or a stay-at-home parent, retired. This could be in your own home, in your neighborhood, volunteer work, any of that kind of stuff. Wherever you are putting in some work, right? And now I think that and next to it, I'm seeing two people, okay? This one looks like they're kind of trying to tower over this other, this formation here. And it almost looks like kind of a dominance, like trying to like fall upon, like almost like push over. And so I get this vibe. This is like a kind of a difficult energy. I think that it seems like there's some kind of unwanted advances or communications from somebody that seems to be, at least in their perception, in a power position, or in a position of power in your life. So this could be like a boss, some kind of person that you trust, or, something like a doctor, a counselor, a police officer. I'm not saying it's any of these things, but I'm trying to give you examples of people who would be in a position of power. A parent, right? Somebody where there's a dynamic that they have some say in the things that you do, and have room to, or at least they perceive they have room to critique in some way. Okay. And so, hello, Pudgy. Okay, so if you've watched any of my other readings, I love having the cats here, but Pudgy has gotten into a mode of hitting the microphone with his tail. So I'm trying everything to keep him out, but keep the door open. So my husband, shout out to Devin Servant Tarot, has to come and get him. And then I have to cut, and yeah, so anyways. So in a position of power, they have some kind of say, right? And now I don't know if this is kind of like a creepy, like flirtatious type of thing, or if this is just them ingratiating themselves into your private life where it's not wanted, right? And here's the thing. Sagittarius, you are funny, smart, outgoing, an explorer of life, free-spirited to some degree, right? But when somebody is aggressively trying to get into places into your life and it makes you feel uncomfortable, I feel like usually your go-to is to just try to ignore it, try to, keep it short, try to give them a hint, like, hey, like, this is not, thanks, none for me, right? Like, I don't necessarily want you to be my friend, or, to know me outside of this certain context. And that's okay, of course, right? But sometimes we run into people who don't get it, or they just don't care, and they think that it's their place to continue on, to keep, digging in. And hopefully they're not a dangerous person. You never know. I'm sure most of us have dealt with somebody at least once in our life, if not quite a few times in our lives, unfortunately, that they just don't have any concept of, boundaries with people. And with the way the world is, with the internets and things, there's a lot of people who, I don't think that they all of them necessarily realize, like, they're almost like a stalker, you know what I mean? But it can get really dark really quickly. And I think some people confuse, kind of being resilient and, keep trying, this weird mentality of, like, trying to wear somebody down so they let you into their lives, is, unfortunate, but it's not uncommon, right? And when come on down. And when when it is somebody who is in that power position, kind of hovering over, right? It can be really, really uncomfortable. It could be scary. It could be, just something that you don't really know how to deal with it, because it puts you in a weird position. Hopefully there's things like HR, or, whatever. But I think that in this situation with this person, hopefully it's if you can just find the right way to say no, like 100%, let's keep this business professional. I absolutely don't want to know you outside of this work dynamic or professional dynamic. Or maybe, you work in customer service and you have a customer who does not understand. I've shared before, I was a waitress for years, and some people, they just don't understand that, like, hey, I'm at work. This is what I do for work. That does not give you, the right to try to get into my personal life in any way, right? And I'm sure if you've worked in customer service, you understand this, or any kind of industry where you're dealing with customers. You will often, come on down, come on. You will at some point deal with somebody who just doesn't really understand, like, the social etiquette, right? Okay, let's see now. And here's the other thing I want to talk about with it. Even if you did invite them into your life to be friends, and then it got weird, I think that the big thing here, and I see this as a person here standing next to a volcano, the big thing here is I think that this communication is going to be so important for you, so that you don't quite literally, like, blow up, right? Like, have a bit of a freak out, because this is really, this can really be so triggering. It can be, it's like a, destabilizing, something that you think about a lot, because it just takes up this room in your life, and kind of brings in a weird, okay, sorry again. The cat literally just pulled my little thing out of my hand. So anyways, I feel like this could really build up this tension, this, this stress of it. I don't know about you, but when somebody makes me feel weird in my life, it really is upsetting to me. There are plenty of times where you just shrug it off. But when it's somebody who so directly kind of sets their sights on you, and it's like really obvious, you just not interested in engaging this. It doesn't even have to be like a physical attraction they have, emotional, anything like that. It could just be that they really are so intent on being around you, talking to you constantly, whatever, just, not understanding that for whatever it is about them, it makes you uncomfortable, right? And usually, when it's somebody you work with, if you don't have like an extraordinary kind of rapport or connection with them, of course you don't want to bring home that kind of, energy, or think about like those relationships that you have at work outside of the, work paradigm. So I think that it's so important to find a way to really, set these boundaries. Now, I think that it could be important for you to document and to also involve a third party, especially if you really do feel uncomfortable. I don't see, I don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but I think that in these situations, it has to be clear, right? But you also have to you have to protect yourself, because usually it's just some benign thing, right? We just don't read the room. You don't understand, or I'm speaking from the position of the person who is kind of creeping you out or overstepping or whatever. Just kind of like maybe lacks some social skills or whatever it is. But like once told, they can get the message, right? But then, they're like I said before, that sometimes there are just people that they just don't understand, or they don't care, right? And so you have to be careful. And I think it's really important to always discuss these things with, your support people, your family, your significant other, just so everybody knows kind of what is going on. Now, I want to move on from this part. It makes me sad to think about. I mean, it sucks when that happens. I've talked about this in other readings. Like, you just hope, and being a person, I'm not like a public figure, of course, but like somebody who's doing readings for the public, and you just really hope that somebody who just gets like into that obsessive, aggressive, weird, like kind of weird space doesn't, like, you don't catch their eye, or you know what I mean? Like, so it's like I pray for that all the time. Thankfully, it has not happened in some years. But when I was younger, I had some bad experiences. And I think it's, when I've talked to people over the years about it, it seems like a really common thing, especially for younger people, men, women, other, there's just that anonymous factor online where people feel like they can just accentuate some of their behaviors, and that is terrifying. I mean, it really is. So let's all be careful. Let's all be safe, aware and safe as much as we possibly can. Okay, so moving along, I am seeing this figure here, and it looks like a little snail, kind of, and then we have like almost a little bird or butterfly, but what I am seeing is it looks like a tree line here, and I'm thinking of somebody who really enjoys the forest. Maybe this is you. Somebody that maybe hikes or just likes to be out in nature, maybe like going to these kind of really wildernessy parks in America. I don't know what they're called in other places, but we have like state parks, national parks, and I feel like this is really a message because of this bird or butterfly. It looks kind of more like a butterfly, but really a message from a loving source, maybe otherworldly, maybe divine, maybe somebody who has passed on. I think this has to do kind of with this face, but I think that they are really telling you it's time to kind of just slow things down. There's a need for some focus on self, some clarity about your own well-being, about taking care of your needs, finding some things that are very holistic for you, different kinds of activities that fill you with excitement, maybe enjoyment, love, a sense of splendor. You feel restored. You can get lost in these things. Something you are just excited to do. And it doesn't necessarily have to feel like such a huge burden to, get from point A to point B to do these things. So I think that this is really a loving and caring message here. Okay. And I was looking at this one. I saw here a person sitting reading a book. And up here, again, it almost kind of reminds me of a natural place. It looks like some kind of peak and then a bird with their head facing upwards, looking at the sky. And I really think that this is a place of peace, a place of kind of surrendering some of that anxiety, getting away from it all, allowing yourself just the ability to kind of indulge in some leisure, maybe, reading, research, just learning, doing some deep learning, and finding that quietness in the soul so that you can kind of do that little restart for yourself. Now, with all this other energy going on with this pushy person, I think that this is really a needed kind of little mini vacation from this other stuff. I think that, ideally this thing can be confronted and then you can take a little bit of a break. Life isn't perfect, but I would say that's ideal, get the bad stuff out of the way and then go and kind of be able to be with yourself, release some of that stress, tension that you're carrying around with you. Okay. And, now I want to look at this one again. And this one looks like somebody climbing a tree. This looks like a tree. And then a person here kind of climbing up to pick something. And what this makes me think of is this kind of mindfulness technique where every morning, or the mornings that you can remember, there is a time when you sit for a few minutes, or you could be making your coffee or whatever, and you do a little visualization where you think about the things that you are going to achieve that day. They don't have to be big. They don't have to be any kind of lofty goals, but you go through the steps in your mind, how you're going to do it, when you hope to get it done, and how it's going to feel. And so going through this little mini planning visualization and kind of really working on contemplating and executing and manifesting these things, actively manifesting these things that you want to get done. It is like kind of climbing up that tree and pulling the fruit down, right? Getting your apple or your beautiful plum. I've been dreaming of plums right off of the tree lately. And so something like this, something that is so worth the work. And so I think doing these little exercises when you can remember, this helps us come back to our power place, right? And that's what the Four of Discs, which I mentioned, is about. And I think that this idea of power really plays out through this reading, in that there's somebody who feels like they could have some kind of power over you, but you're not going to allow that to happen. You are not going to engage that energy. That That is their perception, not yours. And so you take back your power by setting those boundaries, by saying no, right? Using your resources, I mean, quite literally human resources if you have to, right? Or if you have availability to that. But making sure that you do everything in your power to be safe as well, right? Documenting, letting people know. I mean, God forbid it's this far, but filing a report with the police or whoever you need to. Just making sure that there's an apparent no here, okay? And then, like I said, going away, restoring some of those vital energies, letting that, where you felt depleted, letting that sense of power come back. And then also using these mindfulness techniques. I think that is powerful in itself too, because you are, you're planning your steps, right? And it's not just like a list of, I need to get this, this, and this done, but really going through like, how would this actually work? Like, how's this going to play out? And gaining a sense of confidence through that planning and through that visual. The key part is visualizing how you're going to do these things and yourself going through the steps, right? Okay, so I feel like I'm seeing shooting stars here. I feel like there is a sense of magic. There is love and safety in your life. You are being watched over by, that sometimes silent face here. But I think that whoever this is, it seems like it's maybe a masculine person, but whoever this is, feels like they were gentle in your life. Okay. Or, maybe this is an energy, intelligence, some kind of, divine being that you are in contact with. And they seem very loving, gentle, very, very concerned about your well-being. Okay. And so I see these kind of shooting stars and maybe meteor, whatever it is. It seems very magical. And I can see a person down here kind of gazing up at the great infinite, right? Feeling very tiny in this expansive universe, but also so important and so powerful in your own being, right? We are of this universe. We are not apart from it. We are not just witnessing it. We are part of the story. And it has taken so many, just infinite variables, really, to come together for us to be who we are, for our life to be as it has been, the path that we have been on. Every day is such a blessing. There are so many things that align so that we can continue on from moment to moment, right? And so it's so important to consider that. Not just I'm blessed to wake up in the morning. Yeah, you are. But you're also blessed for every tiny, fraction of a second that we continue on. And then when, luck, success, love, good health, whatever, all these things smile upon us. Oh, it's so much to behold. We are so lucky. We are so lucky. Okay, Sagittarius, I'm going to tell you I am so sorry once again for this cat. I love that boy to the end. I've had him for, I guess, what has it been? 14 years I've been with this boy. So he really does run my life in some ways. These cats really do. Between my toddler, my cats, my husband and I are not the bosses in this house, not by a long shot. So anyways, I want to thank you so much. If you'd be so kind as to like the video, I would appreciate it. It helps us get into the algorithm. We're growing this channel, one person at a time. We just got over 10K subscribers. So congratulations to all of us here at, Ula Tea Leaf Readings. And that includes you because you're part of the community. If you have not subscribed, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next video is coming out. Other than that, if you want to leave a comment, I read every single one of them. I try to get back to them as quickly as I can. Sometimes it's just, wild around here. So it might take a day or two. But I will get to you. I promise. So anyways, thank you. We will talk again very soon.